Ah, welcome everyone. Jenny Wise here from Wise Mind Soul Warrior and Wise Mind Yoga Science and Soul. So let us know when you have joined live, and I am so super excited to be with you here today. So see here, make sure you guys can see me. And hold on a second. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hold on one second here. Do one other quick thing. Bear with me here. Always the technical piece to all of this. So let's see here. One second. Thank you for your patience. Finding it here. Okay. Okay, so it says here that we're live, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And hopefully you all can see me okay. Okay, so whoever has joined, let me know. That Tony, that might be you. Okay, so let me know. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay? All right, so I am super excited. Again, continue to let us know. And Tony, if you can continue to put that in the chat for people to let us know when they do join live, so we know that they're here. So today I'm going to be talking about healing your anxiety and detoxing your stress. And this is something that is near and dear to my heart as far as my own personal journey around yoga psychology and mindfulness and meditation and all these different tools that I've collected over the past 10 years. So again, I'm Jenny Wise. I'm the founder of Wise Mind Soul Warrior, for those of you that don't know me. And I'm a yoga meditation teacher, yoga psychology coach, and a yoga teacher trainer. So hold on till the end of this, because we also are going to be doing a giveaway of a program that we usually charge $9.97 for. That is Unleash Success or Detox 9-day series. So that will be a giveaway at the end of this. So there's 3 areas that I'm going to cover today. We're going to talk about the root cause of stress and anxiety. We're going to talk about what stress is costing you. And then if we have time, I'm going to cover changing stress and anxiety as a thought loop, as a habit loop. And that stress and anxiety is actually a habit. And Tony, if you can make a comment for me, I'm not seeing any comments. So if you can make a comment for me and anybody else when you join that you're here, that would be great. So I wanted just to start for you to wrap your head around what anxiety and stress is, and to realize that, you know, whether we're in a yoga class or whether we're in our corporate environment or pretty much anywhere you go, there's usually going to be a high percentage of people or students in a class that is struggling with some type of overwhelm, stress, or anxiety. And stress and anxiety actually weakens the connections between the amygdala part of our brain, which is our fear center, and the prefrontal cortex. So it puts us into fight or flight. And when the amygdala alerts the brain to danger, the prefrontal cortex kicks in, and basically we lose all rational thoughts and emotions when we go into stress and anxiety. So our thoughts and emotions are not working for us because the executive part of our brain is shut down. So, a little bit later on, I'm also going to take you through a letting go meditation. So, I want you to hold on to that as well, and I'll let you know when we'll start that. So, the first step in unleashing anxiety and healing anxiety and detoxing stress is finding out what is the root cause and then actually releasing it. So, thinking about what do I need to release and what do I need to change. 1 second. Tony, again, if you can please write a comment because I'm not seeing anything. That would be really super helpful. So, in what areas of my life am I suffering and what is my story on repeat? So, I want to go over a self-awareness exercise. And the place to start is asking yourself some tough questions to actually increase your awareness. So, what is causing my stress, my anxiety, or my overwhelm? What is what we call my stress story or my stress habit, or what is my anxiety story, right? What's my story around stress and anxiety? So these are all limiting beliefs around the perception of our stress and the perception of needing to change that stress. So asking yourself, how do I feel about myself in my relationships, in my career, in my business, as a parent? What are the feelings that I have around this? Is it sadness? Is it worry? Is it guilt? Is it anger? Is it frustration? And what is blocking me from being the person I want to be? So, where in my family of origin did I observe this way of being as a child? So, in other words, was there a lot of stress and anxiety growing up, or was there a lot of reactivity and not a whole lot of calmness? Right. So, again, if you join us, let us know that you've joined because we won't know that you're here and we won't be able to give away anything if you don't let us know that you're here because we won't know. So, again, we're doing giveaways at the end of this. Um, so another kind of limiting belief or story for you to consider is what is my money story, right? So is my money story around abundance or is it around scarcity? Because if my money story is around scarcity, then there's going to be a lot of stress and anxiety around your finances. Okay. So what are some consequences today in my life if I can continue with this pattern, right? What are the consequences? And that's something that's really important to think about. If I don't change my story around stress, or if I don't change my story and my pattern around anxiety, what are the consequences? And then basically, what is my why? So, why do I want to change? Right. So that's super important. And could it be something around your health? Or could it be um, around um, another limiting belief around why you want to change? So just kind of thinking about, does it have to do with your relationship? Does it have to deal with starting a business? And then asking yourself with the inner critic, right? The inner critic story is the most common of all the limiting beliefs. And the three most common that we've seen with over 4,000 students that we've helped at the Wise Mind Yoga Meditation and Mindfulness Center is perfectionism. So, a lot of perfectionism out there of telling ourselves that I'm not enough, and that pattern that goes around that. So many things that are affected when you're a perfectionist around your relationships, around your personal business, around your career. The second is I don't do enough. So this is what we call the taskmaster inner critic. And this is the one that's usually a workaholic or has a very hard time with just being rather than always having to do. Okay. And then the third most common inner critic is the imposter syndrome, right? So this is the mean girl that tells you, who do you think you are? And who are you to teach this yoga class? Who are you to get on a live? Who are you to send out this email? Who are you to, again, step into leadership, right? Who are you to share your story, right? You're not ready. You're not, smart enough. You're not good enough. You don't have enough credentials, et cetera, et cetera. So that's probably, well, they're all, again, the most common. So these come from a social psychologist. Her name is Kay Smith. She has a PhD. And some of these I've pulled, like the three most common inner critics, I've pulled from our research and surveys that we've done, again, with the over 4,000 students. And then some of these other questions comes from Dr. Kay Smith. So I want to take a moment to just take you through a release meditation. So as long as you're not driving, I want you to find a comfortable seat where you can just, again, maybe it's in your chair, that's perfectly fine. Just closing the eyes or having a soft gaze if you feel comfortable. And I want to take you through this meditation. So again, I just want you to take a moment here just to connect and think about the art of living wisely requires us to be able to let go. So sometimes we need more love or forgiveness. And this meditation is going to help us with showing us the way of letting go of some of these patterns that might be causing us stress and anxiety. So letting go is a foundation of mindfulness, one of the 9 foundations. And a popular yoga saying is actually pain is inevitable, suffering is not. Suffering arises from grasping. If we release grasping, we can be free from suffering. So letting go does not mean losing the knowledge that we have gained from the past. The knowledge of the past ways stays with us. And to let go is to simply release any images or emotions, grudges and fears, clingings and disappointments that bind our spirit. And like emptying a cup, letting go leaves us free to receive, to be refreshed, to be sensitive, to be awake, right? To be awakened. And so, again, I want you to start to bring an attention to your breath and to your body. Just take a moment here to connect to that, connect to the breath and the body. And then just relax again into the grounding of being present here in the moment. So just being with us here in the moment. And now bring the awareness to any story, right? So any story, any of the patterns that you may have. And bring awareness to, again, your story around stress, your story around reactivity, your story around your feelings, your samskara patterns, and any reactions that it's time to let go of it. It's time to release it. So I want you to name it gently. You have to name it to claim it. So are you letting go of some of these emotions related to anxiety or stress? So are you releasing, again, betrayal or heartbreak? Are you releasing sadness, anger, overwhelm, grief, anxiety, again, depression, some family of origin, unhealed wounds, your inner critic voice, perfectionism? Maybe it's the busy syndrome, imposter syndrome. And then allow the space to release without resistance. So just being held with a heart of compassion. So if it is your story around money, your money story, if it's your story around stress, if it's your story around anxiety, if it's your story around, for example, your family of origin. And then I want you to continue to breathe and then just feel into anything that comes up from holding on, anything that comes up as far as not releasing. So, again, I want you to continue to breathe and ask yourself, do I have to continue to replay this story? Again, do I have to continue to replay this story? Do I have to hold on to these losses or these feelings or these patterns? Is it time to let this go? Is it time to release this? So the heart and the soul will let you know. Again, the heart and the soul will let you know. So when we are anxious or when we're stressed or when we might be feeling anger or sadness, we might be feeling or having thoughts like, I can't possibly get through this, or it will always be this way. I'll never have a good relationship. These thoughts create a painfully limited, sense of self. So I want you to just imagine again letting go of these unhealthy thought patterns. And then you can redirect those patterns with, may I be filled with compassion, with mindful self-compassion for myself and others. May I be gentle with myself. May I hold myself with care and respect. May I treasure my life. May I be filled with kindness. So these are some questions that you can ask yourself as you move through this meditation. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths. We're going to inhale through the nose and exhale, release. So deep inhale through the nose and exhale, release. Deep inhale through the nose and exhale, release. Deep inhale through the nose and exhale, release. And you can open your eyes. So if you can also let us know that you are here, because we've had some technical difficulties. I see there are some folks that are on some of these lives. I have these going in 2 different places, one in the group and one on the business page. So again, if you can let us know who you are and where you're joining us from so that we know that you're here. Because if you don't, we don't know, and then you're not eligible for any of the giveaways. So the next point I wanted to cover is thinking about the cost of stress and anxiety. So what is stress and anxiety actually costing you? And if you think about as little as 5 minutes a day of meditation, right? We've got 1,440 minutes in a day, and as little as 5 minutes can actually make a difference if you meditate 5 minutes a day or even 3 times a week. So what does meditation help you with? It helps you with emotional regulation and emotional intelligence skills. It is the neuroscience of how we can change our perception with stress and behavior change. It helps us to change patterns like letting go of expectations and shoulds. Thought, emotion, behavior patterns. Again, what is our stress story or replay? And change these stress patterns. Hold on 1 second. Texting Tony here. Okay, so coming back to our pattern around our stress story and around our anxiety story is, what is our perception of stress in the mind, right? So the brain actually creates stress. And coming back to, what is stress actually costing you, right? So stress is slowing you down, and it can potentially be making you sick, and it also makes you slower. So stress can actually make us sick because it causes inflammation, it causes mental health challenges that manifest as anxiety, and it also makes us slower because it takes up so much energy going into fight or flight that we don't have much energy to be creative or be productive if we're in this state of fight or flight. So the last piece around this, what is stress and anxiety costing you, is that we've actually done surveys of what clients are spending in what we call short-term coping skills, okay? And they're spending as much as $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month on some of these short-term coping skills. So what are some of these? Alcohol, therapy, coffee, cigarettes, binge shopping, anonymous sex, medication, recreational drugs, missed appointments, lost job opportunities, sick days. So these are just a list of kind of thinking about, instead of a long-term strategy like exercise or healthy eating or yoga or meditation or breath work, instead, how could you start to replace some of these short-term strategies with a longer-term strategy for stress resilience? Okay. So the last piece I'm going to cover is something called a habit loop. And a habit loop can be created for stress or anxiety. And the first step in this habit loop is a cue, or what we call a trigger, right? So the cue or trigger could be a negative thought. It could be self-talk, negative self-talk. It could be, your family visits and it triggers you. It could be that you're talking to yourself in a should statement. For example, I shouldn't feel so anxious or shy. Everybody else seems to know what to say. Are you always using words, or using words like always or never? Okay, so this is a tip off that your thought isn't true and you're likely overgeneralizing. Okay, so again, number one is the trigger or the cue. And again, if you're here, please let us know that you're here, because we can't do any of the giveaways or do any of the follow-ups if we don't know that you're on with us. Because right now we can't see, we can see people are on, we can't see who it is. So please let us know where you're joining from. Okay. So number two is a routine. So a response versus a reaction to visit stress and anxiety. So learn to observe the inner critic thoughts through witness mind, through meditation and mindfulness and yoga psychology neuroscience, which will help with this. Okay. And number three step in the habit loop is a reward. So it could be a distraction from processing real emotions and family of origin, samskara pattern association, for example, with a parent's visit that might cause you stress and anxiety. So the best way to break a bad habit is to identify your cue and reward and substitute another routine for the problem. So for example, if you associate a new routine with a cue or trigger, you can leave your running shoes at the front door to remind yourself to exercise. The reward when you perform the routine is to treat yourself to a smoothie. So that's just an example of how you can start to reset the loop, right? That habit loop. So today we covered at a very high level some of the guided meditations. We didn't have a chance to get into the breath work today around what we normally would cover in Wise Mind Soul Warrior, but we gave you just a little bit of a snippet of some of what we call yoga prescriptions for anxiety and depression and stress and cognitive behavioral change and habit change and shadow work. These are, again, at a very high level. We don't have time to go very deep here. But in our Wise Mind Soul Warrior program, which is focused on leadership, not just for teachers, but also for corporate professionals, and basically for women that are wanting to step into leadership, that for women that are wanting to step into the highest version of themselves and who are ready to release habits that aren't serving them. So this has to be a woman that's ready for change, woman who's ready to let go of self-sabotage, to let go of your stress story, to let go of your anxiety story, to let go of perfectionism, imposter syndrome, workaholic, people pleasing, being controlling, having good girl syndrome, the inner critic, mean girl, right? So again, who this would be for would be a yoga, meditation, mindfulness, wellness teacher or coach, a dedicated yoga student who might be suffering with anxiety or stress, or someone who's ready for change, ready for transformation, or again, professionals or entrepreneurs that are seeking transformation and personal development and shadow work, right? If those of you that took that Ready for Change quiz and you scored high in a Ready for Change category, then this would be something that would serve you. So we're basically opening up just a waiting list for the Wise Mind Soul Warrior program that's going to be starting in October. So again, this will open up in October. There'll be more information to come, but this is basically a waiting list for those students or professionals that are really wanting to learn more about it to potentially join us in the fall. So it's a wait list. And you're also going to be getting some classes and meditations and different things that will only be sent to those that are on the waiting list. Okay. And so if you're thinking, I don't really want to teach or coach others, that's totally fine. This is again designed to offer an immersion and a personal development transformation experience around somatic mind-body therapy, around daily sadhana practice, and what I've offered with private students over the past 5 years. I've basically integrated all of that. So Tony has put the link in the comments, and we'll follow up with this link as well, the waiting list link. If you've not put that in, Tony, go ahead and do that. And again, as I mentioned, once you're on the waiting list, you're going to receive classes and meditations that you only get if you're on the waiting list. So, so we're definitely like super excited to explore this more. We already have a first cohort in our Wise Mind Soul Warrior. This is a Yoga Alliance approved 300 program. So for those, again, yoga teachers looking to get their 300, but this is not just for yoga teachers. This can also be for corporate professionals, for entrepreneurs, and for dedicated students, as I already mentioned. If you're someone who struggles with habits and samskara patterns like self-sabotage, stress, anxiety, even depression, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, workaholic, people pleasing, being controlling, good girl syndrome, inner mean girl, that's just one of the lists. So if you struggle with any of these things, I'm here to share with you. I'm on the other side of healing these patterns. Okay. I can relate to every single one of those patterns and probably more. So that is why the client and the students that I'm meant to serve are those women that are struggling with these patterns. And so that's why we keep this open as a leadership program to someone who is in corporate or someone who is an entrepreneur, and maybe they don't want to teach yoga or meditation, and that's perfectly fine. To a student who's just wanting to go deeper into their yoga practice and they have interest in meditation and yoga. Or again, it could be a yoga teacher that's wanting to get their 500 or wanting to start with a 300 program. So we definitely will continue to share more, but I wanted to start with this discussion around anxiety and stress because I myself have struggled with burnout in the past. And so I have been studying these different stress resilience and emotional resilience skills and mindfulness and cognitive behavioral change, again, as I mentioned, for going on 10 years. And so, 1 second. So I wanted to be able to share this with you. And another reason I wanted to share this is because I struggled with anxiety and depression when I started yoga. And so that is why I see yoga as such a amazing tool for transformation and healing, in a holistic way for mental and emotional and physical health, because that was the path that brought me to yoga, is needing to deal with stress and emotion regulation skills and anxiety, and also some of these other patterns like perfectionism, like imposter syndrome, like the inner critic, mean girl voice, that I needed to be able to master those thoughts and become a master of my mind. And again, I'm happy to share that I'm on the other side of that. So again, we will follow up, especially with those that registered for this masterclass. And we will also follow up with the opportunity for you to watch the recording, especially since we did not have the best with our technical piece of this. I'm still not able to see any comments from anyone that was here. So we will set something up so that you're able to see the recording, and we'll follow up with the waitlist link. And you can always message us if you have any specific questions. So again, sending you so much love, light, and blessings. If anyone has any questions, please let us know. I'm gonna wait like a minute or two here. And if I don't see any questions come up, I'm gonna pop off, because we might be picking a different webinar platform for next time, because I can't see anybody on here right now. And I know there's people here. So Tony, did you have any questions? Okay. All right. So again, I'm sending you all so much love, light, and blessings. And if you have not joined the Facebook group, I believe Tony shared that as well. And we'll post that later on. If you have not joined our Facebook group yet, that's another opportunity for you as well to kind of connect with what we're doing in the Facebook group. So again, looking forward to continue to support you here, and sending you so much love, light, and blessings. Namaste.